Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Oblong Polka Dots and my name is Kerr, and on this channel we talk about makeup, skincare, and beauty. So if that's something you're into, you've come to the right place. I hope that you have some water or a snack or something because this is out of hand. This is the third part of my eyeshadow declutter series, and I just want to point something out really quick. Here's a little stack right here, and please don't drop this. Already off to a rough start, you guys. Here's a little stack right here. And then here's the box. And I'll turn it around so you have another visual. There you go. So in this series, I am just going through and I'm decluttering palettes. Hopefully I didn't mix and match anything from the previous two series, like, to put something back in the box that maybe didn't belong there before I had a chance to film it. Sorry, I thought it was crooked. You guys, this is ridiculous. I have been relatively cutthroat in how I'm going through these because I'm like, look, I can't keep all these palettes. Do you see this pile right here? You can't see the entire pile, but I promise you it goes all the way to the floor, and there are boxes of things for me to haul. Also, for the Sephora spring sale for the VIB event, I placed 4 different orders in the past 2 days. And I'm not done. I went to the beauty supply store, which I have not done in years, really, and you can see I did some damage there. So I think I have a problem. I think I have an addiction. So let's just begin, shall we? I'm not going to do any swatches because it's going to take me 100 years if I do that. So I'm not grabbing these palettes in any particular order either. I'm just reaching for whatever's in front of me. So the first one is this LA Girl palette, and it is the Keep It Playful. As much as I love the LA Girl formula, there's something about this palette that I just can't seem to make it work for me, which is wild because I really love the formula. So part of me really wants to hold on to this and see if there's something else I can do with it. And part of me just is like, you know what, sis, you already tried it, get rid of it. But since I'm hesitating, I think I'm gonna give it the old college try and try one more time. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So that's a keep, in case you were missing that in my whole speech just now. This is the BH Cosmetics palette called Nude Ego, and it comes in all these purples. Hope you can see that. I haven't even opened it yet. I'm gonna get rid of this. I haven't even touched it, but I'm not even gonna use it. I picked it up because I like BH Cosmetics formula. I grabbed it from TJ Maxx. It was like $5, but I have so many palettes that have these colors, or this iteration of these colors, that I'm not gonna open this. Somebody else will probably use it. And yeah, this one I just got, and I've used it once, and I absolutely love it, and I'm definitely keeping it. This is the Chase Your Dreams palette, and it's by Sydney Grace. This was my first Sydney Grace purchase, and that's what it looks like. Oops. Always so awkward, you guys. This is such a beautiful palette, and the formula is extraordinary. I'm keeping this. That's it. That's it. I don't know what else to say. And definitely based on my experience with this palette, I do plan to shop again at Sydney Grace and try some of their other stuff. This is from Ace Beauté. It's the Classical Paradise palette, and it looks like I haven't touched it, but I have. These shadows are so pigmented, and they are absolutely beautiful. But because they're so pigmented, you really have to be careful with how you go in to use them. So that's just kind of a little caveat emptor. So I'm keeping that. Let's see. What else do we have over here, you guys? You know, it's a chore when you've gone overboard and you're trying to declutter palettes. It's kind of like, okay, so why would you consume so much? I need to start thinking about that. Talking to myself now. I need to start thinking about that. This is probably not good for the planet. This is the Sephora Disco Diva palette. I think I talked about this in another video. I'm definitely getting rid of this. I don't even think I'm going to pass it along. It's pretty, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to work with. So this is a definite goodbye. Not keeping this. All right, and then also in this little pile, I have the paperback edition 35 eyeshadow palette from, what's the name of this brand? Rude Cosmetics. And either I bought this or a friend of mine bought this for me, but it was from TJ Maxx, which you can find a ton of really good deals at TJ Maxx. And that's what the front looks like. It looks like a little book. Isn't that cute? Manga. And it's all neutrals, which I love neutrals, but I have yet to open this. I haven't used it. And I already have all these colors and 4 million other palettes, so I'm going to pass this along. And what else do we have sitting here? I have a palette that I actually have a duplicate of. I have a backup of this palette, and I'm never getting rid of it. This is the Jackie Aina collaboration with Anastasia Beverly Hills, and it's my favorite palette. It's the best palette I've probably ever used. I don't know what else to say. I love this palette so much that I bought a backup. So there you go. And I'm thinking about trying to source one more backup because, again, this is the best palette I've ever used. This is a new one. I'm not getting rid of it, but I'll show it to you. It's from September Rose Cosmetics, and it's called Still Pretty. And that's what it looks like. Let's take the plastic off. It's very, very red and pink and all the kind of pinky red that I love so much. These are definitely shadows that are right up my alley. So I'm excited to use this. I heard that the formula is really good. And I've had some of her palettes on my list for a while. So I believe this is an Afro-European brand, if I'm not mistaken. September Rose. If somebody knows in the comments, go ahead and correct me. But I'm keeping that. And then likewise, this one is also from September Rose. This one is called Brew, and it's like a coffee eyeshadow palette, similar to the one from Juvia's Place, I think. And I love the artwork on the front too. I think that's really pretty. So this is what it looks like inside. And again, I haven't actually used this yet, but these colors are totally right up my alley. So I'm excited to use this. And yes, I'm keeping it. What else? We're not off to a very good start, you guys. I'm keeping all these so far. This one is also from BH Cosmetics. It's from that same collection, that nude collection. This one is called Nude Ego. I have not opened it yet, but I think I'm going to keep it because I feel like this color story is like a combination of other palettes that I have. It's like kind of a mix of them, so I think I'll actually get some use out of this. So I'm going to keep it. You can see I haven't opened it. The plastic is still on the front of it. But, you know, if for some reason I don't end up using it, then it'll end up in a declutter video. I'm trying to give it a chance here. All right, moving along, we have the Milani All-Inclusive Eye, Cheek, and Face palette. This is in the shade Medium to Deep. And I'm keeping this. I have not used it yet, but I wanted to show you what it looked like. Again, lots of neutrals. You can use these shades interchangeably. So you can use them on your cheeks and you can use them on your eyes. So this is a keep. And I do like the Milani formula. This one's from Juvia's Place, and it's the Rebel Army palette with just it's a little quad of greens. These greens are so beautiful. They're so vibrant. They're so yummy. I'm keeping them. Keeping them. Green's my favorite color, so I feel like that was pretty easy. There's going to be a ton of Juvia's Place, you guys, coming up here because I think that I put most of it in this box. This is the Chocolates palette by Juvia's Place, and by the way, most of these I'm keeping, if not all of them for sure. And that's what that looks like. I haven't used it yet, but I can tell you I'm going to love it, so there you go. I really love neutrals, apparently. I'm totally on a neutral kick. This is also from Juvia's Place. It's called The Blushed Rose. And this one, no, I haven't used this one yet either. There's another one that's kind of similar that I've used, but I haven't used this yet, and I'm keeping it. All right, this is also from Juvia's Place. It is called the Nubian Royal. Her packaging is so appealing. It's just beautiful. It's the purple version, and I have not used it yet, but I am keeping it. I just love her formula. It's really easy to work with. People often talk about like Pat McGrath's formula, but I think that if you were looking for something comparable in terms of like ease of use and payoff, I would probably just go with Juvia's Place and save yourself a ton of money. Don't get me wrong, I have Pat McGrath palettes, but they're like, you take out a loan to buy one of them. So it's just something to consider. This is the Nubian 2 by Juvia's Place. This is such a pretty palette. I've definitely used this one before. Oh no, not this one. I'm sorry. Look at me over here. I haven't used this one yet. No, wait, have I? Sometimes I can't tell you guys because her stuff is so pigmented that I'll use like a little bit at a time. I think I've used this one before. Pretty sure I have. But that's what it looks like, and I'm keeping it. All right, and then we have the Warrior, which I've definitely used before. Again, it doesn't look like it because these pans are enormous and the shadows are so pigmented, but I'm telling you, I've used this palette before. It's so, so, so beautiful. It just, you can make really glamorous looks with these shades, and I definitely recommend it. It's just really pretty. All right, we have the Warrior 3 by Juvia's Place. This one I know I have not used yet, but I'm keeping it because if I want to do a really bright and colorful look, this palette is perfect for that. You have that green and yellow, you've got that kind of burnt orange color along with the purple, and then those shimmers. I think that as far as making a look for just really something graphic or trying to make like a carnival look, that one's perfect. This one is the Nomad by Juvia's Place. I definitely have used this one too. This is another palette that's just like in my wheelhouse, and that's what that looks like. So beautiful. This color right here is so dramatic, and this one reminds me of something I would see in a Pat McGrath palette. Okay. Oh, we're moving right along, guys. So this is Juvia's Place. It's the Mauves by Juvia's. I have not used this palette yet, but I know that I will. These are colors that I reach for constantly. So you will see them in some video at some point in the future. This is also Juvia's Place. It's the Olori, which means queen in the Yoruba language. So this is the Olori 2 palette, and I've used this one for sure, and these blues are gorgeous. They're gorgeous. So, so pretty. I think this is probably one of only a couple blue palettes that I've kept because these just work. They work really well. Beautiful. This one is Juvia's Place Olori 1 palette, which I've definitely used before. And if I recall, I really love this shade right here and this one right here. They go well together, believe it or not. It's very pretty. Juvia's Place again, we have the Olori 3 palette. I've used this one before as well. There we go. And I really like this shadow right here. You can see I've made a little dent. It's just gorgeous. And then we have the Vanessa. And this was the Vanessa collaboration with Vanessa and Juvia's Place. I haven't used this one yet, but I am keeping it. And this shade right here kind of reminds me of something that you would see in like a Huda Beauty palette. So, yes. All right, and then we have the Nubian Glow palette. This one is orange. This one, I don't know. I think I should keep it because I have the feeling that if I get rid of this, I'm probably going to come back later and say, I bought another one because I didn't mean to get rid of it. That's happened to me once before. And I just was like, oh man, I regretted getting rid of that. But still, I don't know. These colors are so, they're not really colors I would reach for. So I would really have to do something out of the box with this. I'm going to keep it because I feel like it's going to push my creative boundaries and maybe get me to do something I don't normally do. This is the Blushed Rose palette. Wait, oh my God, did I just say that a minute ago? Please say no. No, different palette. Okay, good. This is the Blushed Rose palette, and these are all shades I would reach for. It's pink and gold, and yeah, very pretty. Keeping this. And also Juvia's Place. This is the Bronzed Rustic palette. This palette is so beautiful. I have not used this yet, but I'm telling you I'm going to. This is a beautiful summer palette. Look at that. Wow. I don't know how she comes up with these shades, but it's working for her. This palette is by Nabla, and it is the Cutie palette in Wild Berry. I've used this palette, and I don't know. I think I reached for it once for a video, and that was it. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's a nice palette, and I think that's why I keep holding on to it. But I'm kind of like, I don't know. Maybe I'll give it one more try. Maybe what I'll do is actually set it down on my desk so I will reach for it and see if I still like it. And then if I don't, then I'll get rid of it. But I feel like if I have to think about it this much, maybe I need to get rid of it. No, I'm going to give it a try. Let's give it another try. We'll give it another try. I'll leave that one on my desk. What else is in here? I can't even see over the box, you guys. This is a defunct brand, and the brand is called Midas Cosmetics, and this is called the Decaf Chocolate Raspberry Palette, and I'm keeping it because this is the perfect little quad. It really is. You know, these shadows remind me a little bit of the Violet Voss ones, just a little. So now that I look at it though, I think I'm keeping this because it's like a defunct brand, but really I feel like I have all of these colors combined in other various palettes. I'm keeping it. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm keeping it. Just keeping it. It's fine. It's not taking up space, like tiny. And then if I don't like it, down the line, I'll get rid of it. I'm also keeping this one, but I'll show it to you. It's the Mented Every Night Eyeshadow Palette. And arguably, this would be my, if I had to get rid of all of my nude palettes and keep one, this would probably be it. This is just the most perfect palette, you guys. It is absolutely beautiful. And the way that these shadows work is extraordinary. They're so easy to blend. They play well with others. It's just a really beautiful formula and an extraordinary palette. And yeah, I'm keeping it. This one is from Ace Beauté, and it is the Oceanic palette. Keeping this one as well. The thing about Ace Beauté, again, is if you didn't hear me say it the first time, is that the colors are incredibly saturated. They are so pigmented. So a little tiny dip of your brush in these pans and you're going to get massive payoff. So if you are new to makeup, I suggest that you play with this first, you know, using a brush, play with it on your hands, and then see kind of how you can work it, because this formula is so pigmented. I mean, it's saturated. You will never run out. Like if you buy this, you have it for life. I mean, not for life, but you know what I mean. You have it for a very long time. This is also from Midas Cosmetics. It's the Unveiled Berry Nude. And this is another beautiful palette. And it totally reminds me of Violet Voss. Now that I'm looking at these, it really, I don't know why, but it puts me in the mind of Violet Voss. Either way, I'm keeping this palette. So, and not just because the brand is defunct, but because I actually like the palette. All right. And I have another Mented palette here. Oh no, excuse me. This is Morphe. I think I have another Mented one in here somewhere. But this is the Morphe palette. It's the Artistry one, and it's one of the 9 pans. This one is called Just a Crush. If you guys haven't used these yet, I think that they're well worth a purchase. They totally remind me of the MAC Cosmetics palettes. And I think that the shadows are not quite comparable, but they do work very well. So if you're looking for a more affordable 9-pan palette with a slightly elevated formula that's easy to work with, I recommend the Morphe ones. Now, I know that they were supposed to have gone out of business, but I keep seeing their stuff being sold. So I'm not sure what's going on with Morphe. I have no idea. And then this one here is from Mented, and it is called the Everyday Eyeshadow Palette. And Mented, again, can't stress this enough, has the most beautiful, beautiful formula. And it's just a lovely nude palette. This reminds me of something that MAC would put out, truthfully. And I think that the shadows are comparable in terms of performance, payoff, saturation, just divine. If you have not purchased anything from Mented Cosmetics, please buy one of these palettes that I just mentioned to you because you can't go wrong. This one is, it's me making a mess, you guys. This one is also from Midas Cosmetics. It's the Genesis palette. And I think this, I had only purchased 3 when they were going out of business, and this was the 3rd one. For this one, though, I have to say I have to be careful because, and I'm going to go like this, when you go to open it, if you are not careful, the pans can fall out. They're not glued in very well. But that being said, the color story is really beautiful, and the formula is lovely. So I feel like it's worth keeping. And I'll probably just use it until the wheels fall off. My favorite shadows in here, though, are the Educated and Phenomenal. So that brown red right there at the top, and then Phenomenal right there. So pretty. Yeah. I know, I don't know why I keep everything in the sleeves, but I do. So there you go. We have the, oh, this is Unearthly Cosmetics, and I think this was my first purchase with them. It is the Fall Magic palette. I have not used this yet, but I'm telling you I'm keeping it, but I will show it to you. There's something about the shades that are so, it's like muted. I don't know how else to describe it, but I'm intrigued by this color story, and I can't wait to try out this formula. I think it's going to be beautiful. I've had this palette for a while. I just haven't reached for it yet, but it will end up in one of my series when I'm playing around in makeup. Oops. If I don't drop it. This one is from Alien Cosmetics, which I think they changed their name. And this one is called Poison Apple. I'll take it out so that we can look at it. I'm not getting rid of it, but I'll show you what it looks like. That's the artwork on the front. And then, here we go. Look at how massive. Look at the size of these pans, you guys. They're just like the Juvia's Place. They're just huge. There's no way you would run out of these shadows. There's no way. I mean, it's just huge. So, and the color story, again, is really unusual. I do like it. I just haven't used it yet. So, looking forward to that. Talking your ear off, you guys. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Appreciate you. This one is from Beauty Bay, and this is called the Earthy palette. I think this is the only palette I've ever purchased from Beauty Bay, if I recall. And the reason I bought it is because it's all green. Can you see that? All greens. And I wish the camera would be able to pick it up a little bit better, but trust and believe this palette is really beautiful. And it's all greens. So any green that I could possibly think of or want, if it's not in this palette, it probably just doesn't exist. I feel like this palette really covers the green territory. This, excuse me, this one is from Colored Rain. And yeah, Colored Rain. And it's called the Queen of Hearts. I'm not sure I've used this yet, but I'm definitely not getting rid of it. Sorry guys, I'm talking a lot here. I should take a sip of water. And let me show you why. You know I'm not getting rid of this palette. Even though I haven't used it yet, I will use it. I will. This is totally my color story, my wheelhouse. This is where I live. This is my comfort zone. So yeah, this is such a beautiful palette. And I remember when it first came out, it took a lot for me to get it because I believe it kept selling out. So when I finally got it, I was like, woohoo! Finally. This one is, oh my gosh, I'm making such a mess over here, you guys. I'm really trying to stay organized. So this one is from Morphe, and it's the Madison Beer palette. And this is what it looks like. I haven't used this palette yet. It's nothing but neutrals. It totally reminds me of maybe an extended version of the Makeup by Mario palette. You know the one I'm talking about with the just the matte shades? This would be if he had taken that palette and also included shimmers. So even though I haven't used it yet, I'm keeping it because I really love the color story. And again, all these neutrals I can reach for and use all day, every day. Oops. Ah! Oh my gosh. There we go. This one is from Nomad Cosmetics. I have not used it yet. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe a friend of mine said that she was looking for Nomad shadows. I haven't used this yet, but I don't think I'm going to declutter it. Sorry, friend. But this is what it, oops. Take the pass. Okay, there we go. This is what it looks like. And I don't really have a palette that has a color story like this with the blues and the reds and all of that lined up together. So that's part of the reason why I want to keep it. And also, I believe this is my only Nomad palette. So I really want to try out the formula. So I'm keeping that. And the packaging is so pretty. This palette is called Marrakesh. So Marrakesh. And hence the tile work. So pretty. And this is what the outside of the box looks like. Okay. This one is the LA Girl, what's the name of the palette? Holidays. This is unusual because this is textured. It's made with glitter. Look at all that glitter. And this is what the palette looks like. If I can open it. There we go. It has jewel tones in it. And yeah, you don't see that very often. And as much as I cannot believe I'm about to say this, I'm not going to keep this palette because this color story is really pretty. And really, if you look over here, it's the neutrals that got me, but I just don't think I'm going to reach for it. I haven't reached for it yet, and I've had it for quite some time. So I think I'm going to pass this off to somebody else, to another home, and see if they can enjoy it. Finally, getting rid of one palette. Good job. This one I just got not long ago. It's the KKW Beauty eyeshadow palette. This one is the Classic Blossom. And again, no surprise there, another nude or neutral. Sorry. This one, as much as I think I would reach for it, I feel like I would reach for other palettes over this one. So for example, the Mented palettes I'd probably reach for before this. The Jaclyn Hill palette that I just bought, I probably would reach for before this. Or even the Lorac Unzipped palettes, I probably would reach for those before I reach for this. I'm not sure why though, because I really like the way that this looks, but I just don't think that I would reach for this if I know that I have those other contenders. So even though I've never used it before, I'm going to go ahead and pass this along to someone else, and maybe they can enjoy it. Next we have, this is from Alter Ego. I have a lot of Alter Ego palettes, which I think I showed in my other declutter video, and I kept all of them, just so you know. This is the Artemis palette. It's supposed to be a dupe, I believe, for one of the Natasha Denona palettes. I'm not getting rid of this. The formula, the shadows, the color story. I feel like this is pretty much a spot-on dupe. And that specific Natasha Denona palette I don't have. And I have a lot of them, but I don't have that one, so I'm keeping this. This was a much better price point anyways for my pocketbook. And then this next one is from Ace Beauté, and it is called the Nostalgia palette. Isn't their packaging so beautiful, you guys? Ace Beauté makes the most beautiful packaging. They really do. Don't drop stuff. Anyways, again, super duper pigmented, you guys. So just remember, if you do want to get these kinds of palettes from Ace Beauté, you tread lightly. Just be careful. They're so beautiful, though. Look at this. Doesn't this remind you a little bit of like Juvia's Place? Yeah, I know. Me too. So I'm keeping it. That's it. I mean, this color right here, I've never seen a color like this before. I just want to point this out. This green. Not even in that Beauty Bay palette, I don't think they have a green like that. It's like a green and it has some kind of blue in it, it looks like. I have another Ace Beauté palette here. This is the first one I ever purchased. It's the Flare palette. And this is when I learned that Ace Beauté really is the business. Look at that. You can't beat that color story. That's beautiful. You can make any look with this. I think that if I had to offer any kind of critique, or if I were to say, hey, it would have been nice if, I probably would have switched out this mulberry color right here for a deep brown or a black. But that's it. That's my only critique. It's a beautiful palette. I'm not getting rid of it. Not this time. So let's see. We only have a couple more to go, you guys. Not bad. This one is from Wet n Wild, and it is the Bretman Rock palette. And that's what it looks like. And here is the inside. I have not touched this palette yet, which is crazy because first of all, I really love the Wet n Wild formula, just like I love the LA Girl formula. And secondly, I think I could probably make some really beautiful wild looks with this palette. So I'm going to give it a chance and I'm going to keep it and see if I finally do reach for it, because I know I bought this a few years ago. Have not touched it yet. Ditto, I have the Tammy X Tropical Twilight palette from Revolution, and I have not used it yet. This is what the palette looks like. I tend not to reach for palettes that are this massive, and I suspect that's why I have not used this yet. I know. And the thing is, I knew when I bought this that it was going to be a challenge for me to reach for it because it's so big. But I thought, okay, I can still do this. You know what I mean? But I've had this for such a long time and I haven't touched it even once. Even for the top row here of the neutrals. Just, you know, dipping my toe in the water. So I'm conflicted. I feel like I should keep it for potential. But in reality, I'm going to get rid of it because I think somebody else is going to just get some love out of it before I do. And I'd rather somebody use it than it just sit here quietly succumbing to time. This one is the Doja Cat Mega Palette. I know, I don't know what I was thinking when I bought these massive palettes, you guys. I have no idea. This is what it looks like. There's another one. I'm probably just never going to reach for it because it's so big and so intimidating. So I'm going to pass this along as well. Boo. This one is a big palette, but I'm not getting rid of this one, because this one I really do love, and I've used it a few times now. This is the 35T Sweetest Tea palette from Morphe, and that's what this looks like. And I know it's a mega palette, but I'm telling you guys, I've used this a few times, and I love it. It's so beautiful. This is probably one of the single most comprehensive pink/purple palettes I've ever owned. Look at that. The pinks and purples in here, along with like those burnt reds and oranges, mixed with all the neutrals that kind of border the core shades. You can make any look with this palette. You can take this palette with you in your bag when you're traveling, not in your like checked bag, like your bag with your laptop and stuff. And you can have this with you for a 2-week vacation and never, ever, ever make the same look. It is so vibrant and so gorgeous, and I'm so glad I bought this palette. Cannot say enough about it. It is beautiful. That's it. I think we just went through all of them, you guys. Holy moly. That was a lot. It was a lot. All right. I did not get rid of many palettes, you guys, at all. This is probably not good. So I got rid of a total of 2, let's see, 4, 6, right? 2, 4, 6, 8. That's it. I counted correctly. Just 8. I really need to rethink this. But for now, there's 8. So I'm sure when fall comes, I'll do another declutter, and then maybe I'll be actually cutthroat by then. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.